Hi, my name is Victoria May, Business Development Manager at Digital Forming, and I'm going to be talking about how the digital forming software can enable you to create customizable products and how we use the power of 3D printing to facilitate those orders. I hope you enjoy the talk. Hi everyone, so my name is Victoria. I'm a Business Development Manager at Digital Forming. And what Digital Forming do is enable brands, retailers, agencies to offer customizable products to their consumers. So whether it be a handbag, some jewellery, homewares, any kind of product really, we enable you to be able to offer a really interactive interface to your consumers where they can interact and buy a custom or personalised product. So our platform, there's 3 tools to the platform. We have a tool focus, we have Digital Forming XPD, which is very much focused on using 3D printing and digital manufacturing to facilitate customizable products, which you'll see lots of things I'll pass around throughout the talk where you can have a look at all the different 3D printed parts we have. We have Digital Forming XPC, which focuses on non-3D printed things, so maybe just shoes, clothing, that kind of thing. And then we have XPM, which is a tool based around marketing and maybe allowing people to customize for digital assets and competitions and that kind of thing. So customization can help build better engagement, brand loyalty, and sales, drive those sales through that brand loyalty. We have a few stats here. So this one here is quite interesting. It says that consumers will pay 20 to 126% more for a co-authored product, so a product where they get to engage and design the product. And in this study particularly, they found that some people, though I'm sure maybe not so many, would pay even 300% more for the perfect product. So by allowing people to engage with that product and really get exactly what they want, rather than settling for the thing that isn't quite what they want, but they just can't find it out there, they are willing to pay a lot more for that. This one here, 75% said the ability to customize a product would influence them to make an online purchase. So that extra engagement, that interaction with the brand really helps drive those sales forward. And again, on here, in terms of like retaining customers, Land's End found that customers engaging in customization have a 34% higher retention rate. So they'll keep coming back and they feel more loyal to that brand. So talking about brand loyalty and the millennials and trying to engage that kind of market within your brand, loyalty programs and kind of Tesco club cards and this kind of thing, they don't really work so much these days. You really need to try hard to try and get people to come back. We're not very loyal to where we buy from. We'll buy from anywhere, we'll go online. We've got the whole internet in our hands where we can pretty much search for whatever we want, but it's still not always quite right. The millennials, they're early adopters of technology. You know, we've got a phone in our hand all the time. We can just find whatever we want. So trying to engage that target audience and kind of get them to keep coming back is a challenge. And by adding things like customization and personalisation to products and consumer experiences, we find that can help retain those people more. So brands like Nike, Apple, they're very good at it. They know how to retain customers, and a lot of people are very loyal to their brands. So here we go. There's some examples here. We've got Burberry, Nike obviously, Ray-Ban, the North Face, and Louis Vuitton there, all starting to go into customization. Obviously Nike ID, they've been doing it for a long time, and I know later Oban are going to go through how they kind of are using Nike ID as a case study for how successful customization can be and how to market that. Burberry very recently, I think it was early this year or late last year, launched their classic scarf with the ability to add monogramming to it, charging a little bit extra. You got Ray-Bans, you can customize the sides, and North Face, you can choose different parts of the jacket. And lots of studies have proven that product customization can help boost the brand's sales. In terms of emotional branding, like really connecting with the consumer, Coca-Cola, they're very good at it. I don't know if any of you think the Coca-Cola advert when it comes on at Christmas means it's Christmas. I certainly do. It's been on since I was very, very small. And as soon as I see this advert, I saw it the other night for the first time this year, and I thought, that's it. It's Christmas time. Let's go. This is it. And I don't even like Coke. Like, I don't really drink Coke, but I feel connected to that advert and that brand in that way, especially around Christmas time. And Coca-Cola are a really good example of, even with customization, obviously everyone remembers the bottles with our names on. We didn't necessarily buy them, but the shelves were stocked with bottles that had lots of people's names on, and if you found your name, it was like, oh, my name's on a bottle, how amazing, I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to put it on Facebook or Twitter. Coca-Cola had nearly 1 billion impressions on Twitter from that custom bottle brand, and they were brave enough to kind of scrap their logo and just go, you know what, we're going to put your names on the bottle. And it was a really successful campaign. So they're a really good example of how creating that bond can really help drive the brand. So here we've got some examples of some things we do. So in terms of the customization that can be facilitated through the digital forming tools, we've got different types. So you may be printing things that are 3D printing products. So we've got a few examples. So if I pass a few things around, some 3D printed products, here we go, just pass them around. We've got some ceramics here, and let's pass around a few bits of jewellery as well. And let's go for a little robot too. So if you pass those around, so these are all examples of custom products that have all been done via the tools of 3D printing. So digital forming, when it started, very much focused on this as a way of manufacturing custom items. It means that you can very quickly produce bespoke items kind of on the fly. There's a vast range of materials that are available. As you can all see, there's metals, ceramics, plastics, wood even these days. We've got some multicolour things. This is 3D printing for prototyping. You would never wear this rather heavy, when you find out in a second, shoe. But this is just showing you the different tools and how they can be used. So we have a tool that enables 3D customization, and one of the demos that we built with Vimo is showing a handbag, which we'll show later, with a 3D printed custom part to it. But then also you can customize based around non-3D printing. So obviously Nike ID, Ray-Ban, none of them are 3D printing anything. They're customizing their kind of standard products through traditional manufacturing methods. And that can be perhaps, some brands may have like a vast array of stock. So everything they sell, say it's a bag or a shirt, whatever it may be, they may have like 10 different colors and 3 different patterns. If you wanted, you could take all of those things, because they're basically the same item, and build them into a customizer. So here we've got an example, which I'll show you the live link in a second, where here we can change the style of this top, we can change colors of the top and the trousers, and a few other details. They're obviously not made on the fly. They are items that are in store or on shelves within a warehouse or whatever. And the brand has said, you know what? Let's put this into an interactive experience. Let's engage consumers in a new way and put this together and kind of make people feel like they're designing the product. We know that maybe they're not really designing it. They're just basically pointing you down to a SKU that you know you're going to be able to find and make. But for the consumer, it's a nice experience, and it's something different, and that's what really helps engage them and this emotional bond that we talk about. Likewise, with this shoe, this may be slightly different. So here we have something where, like with Nike ID, they are actually custom making that shoe. So it really just depends on the relationships with manufacturers and how the brand wants to kind of, how much customization they want to offer. And what our job is really to just make sure that we can visualize that in the most interactive and fun way for the user. Then on the 3D side, I'll show you these as well in a second. We've got a lot more freedom for customization because we're not limited by manufacturing. 3D printing really enables us to make pretty much anything. I mean, there are some constraints, but with these examples, you can manipulate shapes, we can add stones, we can move those things around. And because we're 3D printing it, the constraints are gone. The thing that we do within our software is enabling the designer within the brand to add constraints around these designs so that as a consumer, I can't go and make a ring that's 30 centimeters long or something silly. We make sure that you can make it, you can manufacture it, and that it's going to fit within your brand and the kind of design intent of the product in the first place. So if I just shimmy over here to my laptop, I'll show you a few of the interactive products that I've got on the screen there. So if I just refresh that so we can see it. So this is a customizable ring, like an engagement ring or something like that perhaps. And here we can move the product around. We've got photorealistic 3D rendering. And here we've set up different options where we can go through changing the shape of that ring. We then go onto here and we can start to do some really cool shape manipulation. And this is where we're really doing something that you can't do any other way. So the 3D printing is really the thing that helps facilitate that possibility. You really couldn't make that. You could, but it would cost a lot and it would be very slow. Whereas with the pieces that you've seen passed around, they're made within 10 days or so, which is pretty quick for a custom item. With this one as well, I can click and add some stones. So if we go through here, I think it's on this side now. There we go. So now we've added a stone in the center and we can change around what that stone might look like. And all of these parameters are set within our software so that you know what you're offering can always be manufactured, always within the kind of cost constraints that you may have, and always within your brand intent. Here as well, we can actually drag that stone around, so it's going to move around and it will only move within the parameters that we've set, so you can't put it off into nowhere. So if we drag it back over here. And then we've got the usual things like sizing, maybe thickening up the ring slightly, and then we've got materials. So the other thing is linking through to manufacturing. So we basically can plug into e-commerce sites like Magento, which is obviously what we're going to show you later today, and make sure that the experience for the customer is seamless, whether it be 3D printing or not. The experience that they have, they're not going to a special site to do something different. They are within your site buying a product. It's a normal experience, but they get this really cool 3D interaction or customizable interaction. We've got, let's have a look on this one. So here's the sleep suit. So this one here we can move around. As I said, this obviously isn't 3D printed. This is based off of a standard piece of clothing. And here this is built via a 3D model that's then been rendered in lots of different scenarios. We can then go through and change the style of the top, change the coloring. I think you can just see there of the buttons and the straps there. And then selecting sizes, this kind of thing. And obviously here you can imagine that's very much based off of, okay, we know we've got 3 top options in stock. We know we've got maybe shorts and trousers and 3/4 lengths, whatever it may be. We're going to build them all into one thing and make people feel like they're buying custom pajamas. Another thing that we can add on to this kind of tool is the ability to perhaps add monogramming to a piece of clothing or item. And again, with the case of this, integrates really nicely and seamlessly into the site. And the order will go through and the manufacturers will receive a list of instructions or a bill of materials so that they know how to make the item. With the 3D, they receive a 3D file, they send it to a 3D printer, and the file is made and finished. And depending on the material, there may be little finishes they do, polishing on metals, that kind of thing. Let's see. And then here, again, it's another one where the shoes. So the key thing really is that customization in any way, whether it's 3D or not, is really something that consumers are beginning to kind of want. Like we're getting fussier. We really want that perfect item. And in order for you to offer that, you really need to offer them the ability to add tweaks to your designs and customize them. And I'll be linked to various manufacturers. And the answer to that really is on our digital manufacturing side, where we're using 3D printing and maybe laser cutting, CNCing, that kind of thing. We're linked to lots of manufacturers that offer all of the materials that you see here today. So you don't have to go and find a new manufacturer. We have those all, and we can advise on the best materials, the best costs, whether there's one local in this country or whether it's best to go to one abroad or that kind of thing. With the non-3D printed, so where we're talking about like shoes or pajamas or bags, whatever it may be, what we do is basically interact with the brands that we're working with. They obviously have manufacturers that they've been working with for many years, and they'll have really tailored how they work together. So we basically work with them to find out from the manufacturers, what are their capabilities, what can they customize, and we work with them to make sure that whatever the options are, we can make sure we can visualize that in a really cool and interactive way, and that the manufacturers are always going to receive exactly what they need to be able to facilitate the order. So time to market is the question. So obviously it depends, you're doing one custom product, you're doing 20, are you using 3D, are you not? But generally we can get a customizable shop up and running. For example, this one here with Lowe's, where we've got lots of customizable 3D printed products. There's 35 products on here, all of which are customizable either just by color, or there's a range also where you can change shapes, add text, this kind of thing. And that was done within about 6 weeks and integrated into Magento. So can you return a customizable item, basically? So if you've bought a pair of trainers off of Nike, you can't. You can't take them back, even if you spell your own name wrong. You've messed up. You bought them when you weren't thinking right. You've done your name wrong. They won't take them back. In terms of what we offer, it's not up to us. It's up to the brands and the retailers to decide whether they want to accept returns on a custom item. Obviously, if something's faulty, then yeah, you're going to accept a return. Legally, a customizable item does not have to be accepted as a returned item unless it is faulty. So it really just depends on how the brand feels. Obviously, the item to make it customized is going to cost more. So to take that back and then not be able to use it again, possibly not a great scenario. But if it's like the bag that we're going to show later, it's what we call a hybrid item. So the bag is traditionally manufactured. There's an element of it that is customized. Perhaps the brand would go, you know what, we can take off that bit, and that bag is still returned as it would be by anyone else, and we just replace the bit that was customized. But the answer really is it depends. If you're offering customizable items and you're using 3D printing as the way to facilitate those orders, basically it doesn't mean you need to go and spend tens or hundreds of thousands on buying a 3D printer and all the things that go with doing 3D printing. I mean, 3D printing is a very broad term for a very complex process. And there's lots of different processes within it that do all the different materials. What we try to do is take the hassle out of that. We know everything that we need to know and that there is to know, really, about 3D printing and how best to integrate that into your offering. So what happens is we'll introduce you to our printing partners, and obviously you've got to have your own agreements on how you're going to work together, but once that introduction's made, through our system, we link directly to those manufacturers, and you don't have to worry about that. The order goes directly from the point at which the payment's gone through. So the e-commerce has taken the money and they've sent a notification to our system to say, right, it's done, it's paid for. Our system then pings an email to the manufacturer who's got the 3D printers, and they log into a back-end system that we provide. They get the 3D file that's been customized, and they print that. And depending on how you want it to work, you can either have those models, those 3D designs that have been customized, sent directly from the manufacturer straight to your customer. You may provide your manufacturer with the packaging to do that. Or we've had in the past where we've worked with different customers where they've wanted to do their own QA checks, and they've got very stringent kind of things with that. So the manufacturer simply each week bundles up those orders, sends it straight to the QA department of the brand, and they check and then package up and send out from there. So in terms of the effort required to integrate 3D printing into your workflow, we kind of feel that we help take the hassle out of that, and all you need to worry about is that you're selling the products and everything else is kind of taken care of. Yes, so what we do in terms of whether it's an online or an in-store experience, again, it really depends on the retailer and what they want to offer. In the case of the project we've done with Lowe's in America, they actually have this set up as a kiosk in their store in New York. And people can come in. There's a 3D printer there. It's more for song and dance than it is to be used functionally there. They print elsewhere. And they have scanners, and they have 2 kind of iPad installs where people can come in and they can interact with that site in store, as well as if they want going online. So the process of buying the item is exactly the same as buying any item that you buy online. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve. Yes, it's different that you're interacting with 3D, and that's something that people are getting used to, and will need to kind of get through the barriers of, oh my God, I can actually change the design of something, which I think these days people are, because of the types of products that we're seeing and the types of brands that we're seeing kind of engage in customization. But the process of all of that is very much, you buy the item, it's going to arrive to you through the mail 5 to 10 days later, depending on the manufacturing process. And that's whether you buy in-store or online. Obviously, if you've got an in-store kiosk, then you have the chance to actually have the products displayed, which is obviously a great help with selling anything, if you can touch and feel something and understand the quality. But yeah, it's a normal process that can go through on a standard kind of e-commerce solution.
Can you help merchants design the 3D personalizable items?
Okay, so can we help design the items? Yes, we can. So depending again on who we're working with, it may be that they do have 3D designers in-house, it may be that they don't, it may be that they do but they're busy. Whatever the reason is, we can take on that work of creating the customizable items. So again, with this example here, we were provided with 3D files, but we created the customization. If we need to create the 3D designs as well, then we can. We've got an in-house design team. Likewise, all of the interfaces and the kind of interactions that you see are all kind of designed by us. So the interfaces you've seen today are all kind of different styles. That's again done by our kind of in-house team. They're experts in this kind of thing and how to interact with products. And we make the drop downs, make carousel menus, whatever the brand wants to be able to visualize the product, how they want to see it, we'll help create that. Obviously, 3D printing kind of over the last 10 years or so has kind of gone from a method of very quickly manufacturing a prototype to making end products. So as you can see with the jewellery in particular, they're final pieces. You can't tell that that's been 3D printed. They're good quality, they're nice materials. Some companies I've seen online are using it to make kind of a demo piece. So there's a site, I can't think of the name right now, that does custom engagement rings. And they do actually just use 3D printing to send out that sample, so that the person buying the engagement ring can get it, be like, yeah, it's perfect, or no, I need to change it again. And it's when you are offering customization, particularly for something like an engagement ring where it's potentially very expensive, it's a great way to very quickly send them something that's maybe mocked up in silver-plated brass or something cheap to make. They send that out for free, the person goes, okay, great, yeah, and then they spend their 1, 2, 3 grand, whatever an engagement ring costs, to get the real item made. So in terms of when the experiences we've had, all the items have always been the final piece that has been 3D printed, and the quality is kind of good enough for the retailers that we work with.
What kind of products you can create?
In terms of what products you can create with 3D printing, there are lots and lots and lots of possibilities, particularly with metal and jewellery. We see that really being a big market. Obviously, you can't print a bag, you can't print in leather or cotton or whatever that may be. But in that case, we kind of see the technologies merging together. So as I was saying earlier, like a hybrid product where you have something that is partially traditionally made and then you're adding value to it by putting something cool like a little 3D printed charm made of gold or something like that. And then those two things can go together. Obviously, you've seen there's plastics, metals, ceramics, woods. The technology is constantly changing and developments being made. I mean, 3D printing's been around for 25 years, 30 years nearly. It's not a new tech, it's just new to all of us, if you know what I mean. Like the hype right now is big. And some of that hype is a bit too much, and the idea that maybe we're all going to have one in our house is possibly something that personally I don't necessarily think is going to happen. But to kind of break down the barriers for things like offering custom products, I think it's a great tool to enable that.